Hello everybody, and welcome to Homestead Where You Are. I'm Janet, and today I am going to be making some cherry jelly. Not jam, but jelly. I'm going to start with, I have some frozen, they were fresh cherries that I put in the freezer just a week or two ago. And now I'm going to stick them in my steam juicer and get us some juice to start with. So, first thing I have to do is put some water in the bottom of my steam juicer. And I just realized I do not have a propane tank hooked to the stove right now, so I'm going to switch this around to the other stove and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have everything switched around to the other stove. So now I'm going to take and first I'm going to get the heat going on this. And I'm going to dump my frozen cherries into the top. You actually get more juice from most fruits if you freeze them first. Sorry, got some juice on my tablet. Alright, and then I'm going to put the lid on here. I'm going to close this until it gets going. And then I'll bring you back once we start making some juice. Okay guys, so we have juice coming out of it. I'm just going to let it go until it finishes up. I don't expect it to be a whole lot, but whatever it is, that's what I'm going to use. So I'll bring you back when it's done. Okay, so I just turned it off. I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes, let the last little bit of juice settle in here. And then we are pretty much done with this part. Alright guys, so yesterday we juiced all of our cherries. Today we are going to make some jelly out of part of it. So I'm going to start with my 4 cups of juice, which this is actually 4 1/4 to 4 1/2, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I'm going to put my calcium water. I'm using Pamona's Pectin. It's what I try to use most of the time. And the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon per cup of juice. So I need 4 teaspoons. Alright, and then for the sugar, between 1/4 and 1/2 cup per cup of juice. So I can use anywhere from 1 to 2 cups. I'm only going to use 1 to start with. You mix it in with the amount of sugar that it says, and after you've gotten your jelly all, up to a boil and all that kind of stuff, and then you taste it. If it's not as sweet as you like, at that point you can add more sugar. But in order for it to activate correctly, you don't want to use any more sugar than what's in the recipe. So I'm going to use 1 cup. And then my 4 teaspoons of pectin. And I'm going to mix that up real good. Mixing it up and putting it in with sugar helps to keep it from clumping. Alright, sorry about that. My husband had a question. Alright, so I'm going to start heating up my jars. And I'm going to get the heat going for jelly. And I'm going to put my juice in here. And I'm going to let that come to a boil. And I almost forgot that this particular recipe with the cherries does call for 1/4 cup of lemon juice. So I've already measured that out, and I'm going to go ahead and pour it in here. Alright, so it has come to a boil. Now I'm going to add the sugar pectin mixture. Alright, and you just bring that back up to a boil. Alright, it has come to a boil, so then you just turn it off. Alright, so I'm going to start filling my jars. So again, I'm going to put some hot water in with the lids. Should be 5 jars. We will see. I don't normally make a lot of, strawberry, cherry, blueberry, raspberry, any of that kind of stuff, because I don't really have any of that growing just yet. But I had cherries given to me this year. Wasn't a whole lot, but it was enough for this, and I still have another jar of juice that I'm going to use for something else. And I was given about 3 quart bags of blueberries, and I went ahead and bought a flat of the strawberries because it's my husband's favorite. So alright, and again I'm going to use this hot boiling water to wipe off my rims. Oh, that's hot. Take my hot lids. And my rings. And I do have my other jar of juice, cherry juice in here, processing it in case I don't get to that right away. Alright, so I'm going to bring that to a boil. Once it starts boiling, I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. Alright, so this has been boiling for 10 minutes. So I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to set the lid off. Now, depending on how your temperature is, in your kitchen or whatever, you might want to let this cool down quite a bit before you pull the jars out so the jars don't get shocked. But it's pretty warm out here. I'm outside in my outdoor kitchen. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these out. This is my leftover cherry juice. And there you have it, easy cherry jelly. My husband loves jellies over jams and preserves. He doesn't care for the fruit being mixed in, doesn't care for seeds in it, any of that kind of stuff. So I do make a lot of jellies. Now on the cherries, I would have normally pitted some of them to make, half of it into jam or something. But because I knew I wasn't going to get to it right away, I didn't have time to do the pitting and all that. I had just thrown the cherries in the freezer, and it's much harder to pit them after they've been frozen. So I just turned it all into juice. So anyway, that's all there is to it. It's as simple as that. And I thank you guys for joining me on another adventure, and I hope I see you on the next one. Thank you.